I will call the Finance Committee meeting to order. I have with me in the room John Croft, Andy Olderman, Gar Morris, Maury Creighton, Peter Twining, and myself, Sarah Mellish. We also have in the room Ann Harrison from the Select Board, Town Administrator Tony Barletta, and Finance Director Andrea Manville. Dean Nahada said he was unable to make it tonight. He's somewhere in the air. We will begin with the CPC, which is on the last page of what Andrea just handed out.
This one? Excellent.
Okay.
So I believe we have discussed these items. The new one is the rotunda for $350,000, and the Affordable Housing Trust was decreased from 200 to 100 in order to add 100,000 more to the rotunda, which was the maximum money they had available.
Right.
Any questions, discussions on this?
Just one reading it. So the 47.2 at the bottom line, that's the balance that's undesignated?
Yes.
Yeah.
And in prior years, there were hundreds of thousands undesignated.
I do appreciate it. It's much less, yes.
This is a small amount.
Yes.
Is that right? No.
Is there a reason the undesignated is broken out?
No, that is, do you know what the undesignated means, Andrea? Because they're spending it. It's not like they're not spending it.
Right, so they have about $50-something thousand, and so they've allocated that 47,000 to come from those funds.
That was left over?
Oh.
So they'll have like a little bit left over, but not much.
It's the funding
Yes.
source. Okay.
So that's not
Makes
current
sense.
year
Okay,
receipts.
that's,
Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So I was wrong on my prior explanation.
There's a line item of trash barrels, and does that dovetail in with, trash and all that? So
No.
these are decorative barrels
these
somewhere
are,
around?
yeah, these
Okay.
are, exactly.
Where are they for?
Different parks around town. They're like, nicer looking receptacles rather than like your painted drum with a plastic cover on it.
Upscale trash barrels.
Nice.
Celebratory trash.
Befitting of our fine time.
Any other questions? I thought Jack was gonna be on. I don't see him. Muffin Driscoll is on from CPC.
And Tony,
Jack-
remind
Jack
me,
is
what is
there.
the photo restoration? I don't remember what that is.
Oh.
The check's on.
Jack Burke?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I guess we have some questions.
Certainly.
First was on the trash barrels.
Say it again, please.
Trash barrels. Number 6.
Yeah, I actually don't have that sheet in front of me. What is it now?
Trash barrels.
4,000.
4,000 trash barrels.
Oh, I'm sorry, the trash barrels. Yes, that was just to get rid of some of the ugly metal green trash barrels that are around some of the parks and make something a little bit more attractive in our parks.
Great.
Okay. Peter?
Yes. And remind me, what is the photo restoration for 3,100?
Yeah, the photo restoration is the Alder Brethren, all their old pictures going back to the 1800s that they're going to restore. This is the third time we've used CPC money for photo restoration that included the police department, fire department, and now the Elder Brethren wants to restore and save and digitize all the pictures they have for the last 100 years.
Thank you.
It's great to digitize them because they're gonna get lost if they don't.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion to approve the $594,200 in CPC projects?
I move we approve $594,200 for the Community Preservation Commission.
Second.
Maury seconds. Any discussion? Take a vote. John?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Gar?
Yes.
Maury?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
And Sarah votes yes. Thank you, Jack, you're all
Yeah,
set.
thank you, Jack. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. And next on the agenda might be, since I don't seem to have the agenda.
I think you have capital budget,
Capital
Okay.
budget.
projects and discussion.
So I think the other things we're discussing tonight is the capital projects and also any held budgets that we can
Yes.
expend.
And that would be sanitation,
Sanitation
emergency services.
and debt service. Thank you very much. Okay. So we voted on the CPC projects. Now we're talking fiscal year 27 capital budget funding and projects discussion, and hopefully a vote. And Andrea has given us this handout, capital fiscal year 2027 stapled on the bottom.
Sorry. Sometimes I forget, I have to rotate the whole pages upside down to make
I
the
noticed.
staple right.
So does it begin with this?
Ah,
So where do you want to, you're gonna walk us through this, right, Andrea?
Right.
Okay,
So
where are we starting?
So the first page should say capital FY 2027, March 2026. So it's- Yeah, so it's not stapled on the bottom left.
So we're on this, we're on.
Okay.
I'm keeping you guys on your toes.
That's good.
So we're on the expenses page?
So the next one is expenses. So this is a budget projection that we usually have in our budget workbook. And so I've projected out, I've included FY 27 proposed, and then I projected out, and the increase column is what I projected every annual increase would be after FY 27. So you can see in the town operating, salaries, expenses, salaries I put 2.5%, and it flows over into projected fiscal 28, 29, 30, and 31.
Mhm.
Okay,
It kind of goes down from there. You have the enterprise funds, same thing. And then it gets into the school district, which I have at a 3.5%. The school debt is actual from the latest schedules I received. The next is the Essex Tech. I haven't updated that. I know they just changed their lottery to a lottery system. So I'm working on changing that projection a little bit because right now we have 9 kids.
We have 8 or 9 kids
10 kids.
in all 4 grades right now. The lottery system will allow for 10 spots per year for kids from Manchester. And then I think it could even go up another couple spots based on, an additional lottery after that. So it's kind of hard to project what that cost could be, but
and that's for the upcoming year?
yes, but our assessment is based on how many students were actually there the previous year.
Oh, okay,
So this year we have 10, call it 10 students in all 4 grades.
Yep.
I don't know how many are seniors. Do you know?
Yeah,
One. Okay. So next year, if the others are still there, we'll have 9 and we'll have 10 more possibly going.
Yep.
And 10 more possibly the next year and the next year.
but we find out about that a year in advance.
Well, we find out how many kids get accepted, but our assessment's based on how many kids were there the previous year.
Right, so our number for this year is good.
Yes.
And then next year, we'll know the results of the lottery and have a good number.
Yeah.
Well, the
It's just-
lottery won't have kicked in yet next year,
Right.
if it's based on the 25 enrollment.
Will be
I
the
think-
26, 27 enrollment.
Right, which would be based on 25.
No, it's not, the charge is based on the previous year. The number of students is based on the decision of the
Fall of 26.
the decision that was made by the, all of the technical schools in the state. So,
So next year's assessment should be based
When
on
we-
the
when we said-
upcoming school year's number of students.
When we say next year, can we talk about what fiscal year we're talking about?
Sure. So fiscal year 28,
Okay,
our assessment will be based on, it should be based on the school year that starts in the fall of 26, which the lottery kicks in, I believe.
right,
yes.
they're holding the lottery now
Yes.
for 26 enrollments. Okay,
So the point is when you start to project out,
right,
you know, that if all 10 seats get filled, 4 years, 5 years down the road,
The
this
40
could
kids.
grow exponentially.
right.
In theory, those students are kids that otherwise would be going to Manchester Essex Regional,
So I'm sure we'll get a discount there.
you, in theory, but it doesn't always necessarily equate to that.
Okay,
You're welcome.
Is it fair to say we're undersubscribed on the people that can go to the vocational that would like to?
we don't know.
I mean,
In the
are there-
past,
Yeah, I'm wondering, are there people in Manchester Essex that would like to go to the vocational school, but there is not a spot for them?
I think it's fair to say that there's been kids that applied and did not get accepted in the
Right.
past because of the limited number of seats.
But not a huge number, right?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, okay. So we don't know if 10 kids will want to go.
Excuse me, so this is a two-step deal, you have to be accepted, and then you go into the lottery to see if you get in.
No,
No.
the lottery determines whether you get in.
So it's the other way around?
Yeah.
Okay.
They no longer have quote-unquote eligibility requirements.
Okay, but we
They
could
have some.
theoretically have 40 kids there.
Yes,
A lot of money.
5 years down the road.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
lot of
I mean,
money.
but you have to have
Potential growth,
10
yeah.
kids in Manchester who want to go.
Oh, right, I understand, which we, I guess, do right now.
No, we have a total
Not
of 10 in
10.
4 grades.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, that have applied, I think,
No.
I don't know if it's that many.
it was a lot.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like 10% of each class.
Yes,
More.
you're right,
Yeah, no problem.
yeah. It's a lot. Okay, let's move on, we don't want to really dwell on that. That
The
wasn't
next-
on topic for tonight.
The next line is the capital improvements. So I put in what we have for fiscal 27 so far, and then based on our prior year's capital from taxation, we usually put in about 1.3. I did a little analysis on that. I can share based on our 5-year capital, and it's not enough taxation for next year, but I put it as a placeholder based on our prior assumptions. Then I put in like the non-appropriated expenses, community preservation, I just kept as the same amount that we had previously, so it doesn't skew the percentages.
When you did operating, did you reduce it by the health insurance for retirees?
I did, yeah, so if you
Okay,
see in the
good.
first section, under health, there's like a little thing
Okay, good,
that says that, and you can
Yep.
put it in red so you can see the reduction there.
got it, thank you.
And then we go down to the total expenditures, then below that I have the revenue. So that's like our state aid, our estimated local receipts, CPA, any other available funds, our harbor department funds, all the different revenue sources we usually use. And then subtract that, and then the net amount to be raised. And then below that, I have the real and personal property taxes. The 2.5% calculation is included in that. the growth I estimated around 200,000, because that's what we usually,
Which does not include CST.
correct,
Okay.
correct. Yeah, none of the estimated local receipts include
yeah,
CST either.
that's fine. Yep.
And then expected capital exclusion, and then the Manchester Essex Regional School District debt, excluded debt. And then that gives you the unused levy capacity, and you can see out years, you have some money to find, or some expenses to cut.
No question. Why is CPA a revenue as well as an expense?
Because we get the tax revenue in, for the 1.5%.
Yeah.
So in order to balance it, not skew it, I have the expenses match the revenue for it, so it's just 1 for 1.
It can't go
So
to
it's-
operating.
It's our money.
Did you forecast the state match going down more
Most likely.
to where?
Not in this. In this, you left it
This I
steady,
left it
right?
the same, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Last time.
Yeah, but now, Jack just told me it's now 15% for FY '27,
See if
so
that-
down 2%. So, let's see how. So that's that page, and then the next page, that page we just went over kind of flows into this one, so the net amount to be raised line is up at the top. And I brought that over just so I can follow through and say, okay, that's how much taxation we need. What would our tax rate be then, based on all those assumptions in the previous slide? So that would be $8.85. I have a lot of time to check my
Which is an
percentages, so I hope
increase of
this-
1.75%,
Mhm.
right?
Yes,
Okay.
yep. And then what I did is underneath that, I broke out each borrowing. So if you just did the PFAS water system improvements, and I estimated the 16.5 over 20 years, and the first year won't be as much, because the project is going on, 150, and so that added to the net amount to be raised would bring the tax rate to 8.89, which is a total of 2.18% increase. And then I did that going out years, and then
But you're not increasing 1.1 million each year, are you, in your repayment? That's a static number, isn't it?
It becomes static FY '29.
Right.
When the
Right, so
project
that it's not
completes.
increasing, so I think these increased percents don't reflect the difference from the prior tax rate.
These do, if you go out to like FY '28, it's a 0.69% increase in the rate from 8.89 to 8.95.
Yeah, but then you go up 5.84%, which is because you're incurring long-term debt. But then you have another increase of 3.63, that's not increasing. I mean, it's only increasing like 14,000.
Is that because of expenditures in
No,
like
that's-
year
Maybe
two or
because my
three?
formulas.
So that's,
Never mind.
yeah, right, because what we wanna
Yes.
see is,
In that difference,
yeah,
we don't see the annual net difference.
right. So this makes it look worse than it is, I believe.
And the other way around, right? Well, I'll check those percentages
Okay.
in a second. But to
And so
go,
when it jumps up is when you enter into the long-term bonds,
correct.
correct? Okay.
And then I did that for the rotunda, the Central Street culvert, dredging, like each individual, if we only did that project for that year. And then at the bottom, I did total of all of those above to get the total increase. And that's if everything were to happen all in 1 year. And then below that, I did the tax bill estimate, so if there was no borrowing, I put in the FY '26 rate based on a $1 million assessed value of home, and what the increase would be to FY '27, '28, and going forward, based on the rates above. And then underneath that is the tax bill, including all the borrowing. So that total borrowing, the 9.05 tax rate is included in the FY '27 column down below. And then below that, I calculated the difference. Below that, I know we talked about the current debt service and when it drops off. So I included that, so you can see in FY 2034 is when it drops down $1.4 million.
34?
Yes,
Sure.
that's right at the bottom.
So at the very bottom,
The very bottom
I thought
chart is existing long-term debt service.
it's 34.
I thought it was around 6 million.
No, this is the payment, repayments,
Oh,
not
Yes.
total debt.
But if we looked out at the end of the period on this sheet, which is 2035, what is our debt at that point in time?
$40 million is
Or you're asking what's the debt outstanding?
The outstanding debt.
Assuming we don't do anything else.
That's right, that's right. Bold
Exactly where I'm
assumption.
going.
Yes, with nothing else, the $268,000.
So we paid it down to $268,000?
No, he's talking principal,
Principal.
outstanding principal.
And
So,
everything is paid off in FY 37,
okay,
just
well,
for town debt, not school.
okay, well, let's just then talk about town debt. What is the peak borrowing level for the town of Manchester for the next, I don't know, 10 years or something like that?
The debt service isn't supposed to exceed 10% of operating.
I'm not interested in the debt service.
There's no limit on the amount of debt.
I just want, there is in my mind, so that's why I'm asking.
It'll be the first year,
But-
right? The very first year before you start amortizing all this new debt.
No, that's not true.
Well, because
Because
we're spending
when
for the
we-
next couple, 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I
Your
mean,
max debt's that first year.
no, because we're not entering into the long-term, we're only paying interest. We're not really entering into the debt until we enter into the long-term debt.
It doesn't matter, like
Well,
you're
we've
spend
got-
this much money and then you only start amortizing it after the first year. So it starts high and then it drops, right? Like your mortgage.
That could be. However, I'm not so sure that our
The other
bond
debt, I don't know about.
anticipate, do we borrow under bond anticipation notes the total cost of each project
No,
at the beginning? No. So that as we spend into these projects over the next 2 or 3 years, the amount of debt goes up. And what I want to know is what's the maximum amount of outstanding debt that the town has incurred on this sheet?
Currently, without the projects. being
Looking,
contemplated,
including all of these capital things we're voting on tonight.
Holding those in.
Plus current debt.
Yeah. Yeah, what is our debt? It's 5 or 6 million now. What does it go up to? 30 million?
Right, I mean, we're
40
asking for 29 million, so 29 plus,
Okay, so, and what year is that?
that would be 2028.
2028. So we're going from borrowing $5 million,
29.
Yeah, it's
okay,
29.
29.
29.
I'm not arguing the year. I just want to know
It
the
depends on
amount.
the timing
How
of the
much debt
projects.
are we gonna have outstanding at the max?
35.
35 million.
But it'll be reduced by existing debt that goes down.
Okay, well, I guess what I'm looking for is the net borrowing for the company, shall we say. We'll call it the town, but I call it the company. What is the debt, what is the maximum debt that we have outstanding over the next few years? That may be irrelevant to everybody, but to me, I look at the total debt, you know.
It'll be relevant to the rating agencies.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
I mean, one way to look at it is if you look at Andrea's second column, we've got about $29 million
New debt.
of new debt being added. And then if you add the school in, that's about,
No, but
that's another 40, but
if you
But
look
leaving
at,
the school
if
out
you
for a
look at
second.
the
so-
bottom and
so
look at,
29 and three, to Gar's question, about 3 years into it, we'll be totally committed.
Yeah.
And to John's point, the biggest hit is probably at the beginning and then it amortizes down as we go.
Okay. So we're gonna go from 5 million now
To 29.
to 34 million, including the 5 we got outstanding plus the new 29. Is that,
Yes, yes, yes.
Rough order of magnitude.
I just,
about right.
you know, and just in case,
It
What's the school
isn't,
debt?
I mean, it isn't accurate, and that's what's bothering me.
okay,
Because if you look at the debt service, the decrease in the debt service, you're obviously paying down your debt.
I assume so.
So the 5 million is not an accurate number.
Yeah, the 5 million probably amortizes over 20 years, so.
Right.
No, it's already,
No, the 5 million
It's
is
equal, right?
probably
It's equal payments every year, so it's 1/20
like a
per year.
mortgage.
Ish. Well, mortgages are different.
Oh,
These are,
yeah. These are constant principal,
yeah, these are
yes.
constant principal.
Okay,
yeah, but each of
Like,
these
well-
existing debts has been in existence for a different number of years.
But the principal you pay is equal every year, right? So if you have 6 million out now, that 6 million is like roughly 1/20th every year, right?
I don't know about that.
So in our current debt, we have a mixture
Depends
of
on the term.
equal debt service and equal principal payment.
Oh, that
And
makes
then-
it easy.
Yeah, and then in my projections, I just did equal debt service payment. Just because I know we have a lot going on at first, so you don't want like really high at first, so.
But I think the question that was asked is what is the maximum debt at what point? And
So-
rough order magnitude, it's about 3 years
So
from now, and it's
fiscal
about
year-
$29 million.
Are we
Well,
doing fiscal year
34.
27? Fiscal year 27, the current debt, town debt is about 5.5 million. By fiscal year 28, it's like 4.8.
Okay,
By fiscal year 29, it's under 4 million.
okay.
And by 30, it's 3 million. So it's decreasing about $1 million a year.
Million a year.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
33-ish,
so the number is 33. If you add,
3 years from now.
okay, thank you, Tony, thank you, Andrea, thank you, that's good. And then, of course, if we decide we need to build a bridge to Cape Cod or something like that, or some other capital program, that will be additive to all of this.
As we go towards that year, 33. yes.
Right, and that's a decision you'll have to make at that point in time.
Right,
I think you should include the school debt as well, our portion of it, because we're the only people who can pay it. So, whether it's school or ours, it's the same thing.
it's kind of us.
Yeah, right, there's only us.
And Essex.
Hopefully.
So, I mean, I think this is a really good analysis because we've taken a group of key projects and we've projected it out to 35. The question is, what are we gonna be talking about in 5 years from now as the next basket of projects that's gonna extend out?
Well, I think a more immediate question is,
What's the tax rate?
are we comfortable with all of the projects on this year's list that are gonna be bonded? Or do we feel the number's too high, so something should be removed from the list? That's really the question before us
that's-
today.
That's a very good summary.
Yeah, but if it's like you're gonna push it like a year or two, it's not gonna matter that much.
Yeah, it's,
Right.
yeah, like we
You know what I mean?
had that discussion about Tappan Street
Yeah, you can,
last time, I mean,
And
if we don't do it,
For the
if we don't do
rotunda,
it
the
now,
2
it's
million
gonna
is
be,
worse
net
probably.
of all the various pieces
Inflation
that
goes
we
up.
put in and that we project will be available when you go to bonds on that project.
Yes.
You know, all those pieces.
I mean, I think the other thing we have to remember is, for instance, the culvert's on here for 5 million. We're applying for a regional grant to cover the 5 million.
Lovely.
So, you know, I'm sure that will come through.
Absolutely.
But if it
Just-
does, then, and the other thing is, we have to remember is the amount we're appropriating tends to be a high watermark, because they need the appropriation to go out to bid.
right, it
So
could be,
we-
it could be less.
It could be less. It can't be more, because we haven't appropriated more.
Right.
So, you know, certainly the actual amount bonded could be less.
So to that point, PFAS project went out to bid. We'll be getting those back, I think, April 8th. So we'll be able to adjust this number before town meeting. Hopefully it comes in lower.
Great.
And we have been approved for SRF. We'll talk a little bit about that tonight if you want. Chuck sent in some information. SRF through
What does
its
SRF stand
state
for?
revolving fund
Thank you.
through DEP. It provides long-term, low-interest loan program for water sewer projects.
Great.
It's great. However, when you go through that program, it does add cost to the project because of mostly BABA compliant, American-made products are required. So what we did with this bid is the base bid is non-SRF. If we were to borrow at a 3 or 4% on our own. And then the add-all bid is if we were to go through SRF, what would that additional cost be? Which would be more like a 2 to 3% borrow. But we want to be able to do that analysis and find out
Yeah, with a break.
what's the best option. So that should come in a couple weeks before town meeting. We can adjust that number accordingly.
Both of those numbers will come in. That is.
Yeah, they're both due April 8th. And then, what was the other one I was gonna? Oh, on Central Street culvert. So essentially, we have to go out to bid for the culvert sometime in April in order to meet your September to March construction schedule. So we thought about like, could we wait until next year? But when it's a debt exclusion, you have to do it at April town meeting and then it has to be voted on in May. So we're asking for it now. Hopefully we get either our brick funding extended or we get the regional grant before April of next year. And we can utilize that. But if that doesn't come through, we'll have to make a decision about, can we wait another winter or do we go forward
Will
with
it
the debt
wash
exclusion?
out in the meantime?
So are you
something.
not planning to start it in fall of '26?
Correct. Yeah, I don't think
Okay.
we were already too late.
So we're planning to start it in fall of '27,
Mhm.
which delays when the bond would come in.
I mean,
And that's what, but that's not what's on this chart, right?
unless
Okay.
between now and in the next 3 weeks, like all permits came in and brick funding somehow we got an extension, yeah, I don't see it happening this coming winter.
So,
Permits will be okay, carrying that long?
Yes, yep.
So that pushes the long-term bond out a year.
what is?
Under
I'm sorry,
Central Street
So it doesn't
culvert,
mean that it doesn't need to be on this list until next year.
no, because we need the appropriation to
So
bid.
you can go into bid.
But it doesn't mean borrowings would occur.
Correct.
It'll be pushed out a year.
So the 150,000 would be pushed out a year because we wouldn't spend,
Right.
and the 365 would be pushed out a year.
Right.
What a deal.
Yeah.
The 150 is about 0.5% of a tax increase.
I
Less
guess,
than that, about 0.4%.
yeah, I feel comfortable with that. We went out to bid a while ago for the precast
Yes.
arches and got a great price on that and entered into a contract and we'll apply the cost of that to the brick funding or to the MassDOT funding, whichever one makes sense, so,
Those match the current design.
yeah.
I'm not trying to open up a can of worms here, but we had a list like a year or two ago that listed capital projects going out like 25 years.
Right.
And it was frankly, it's a pretty scary list, but it had things on there like DPW facility,
Right.
potentially moving this, all that stuff. Is this sort of the your best estimate of what we can handle over let's say the next 10 years, 7 years, and the rest of those items kind of go
No.
out?
No.
Because where I'm going with this is
It
if
has
that
to-
list is real, we may be overlaying another round on top of
Right.
this.
Right.
And I just, decisions made on these projects have a bigger impact in the future than the ones that we're gonna be talking about in 3 years or 4 years.
I think, I mean, we can theorize all we want,
Right.
but I think what we have to look at is the need for these projects.
Right.
I mean, I think,
I'm not doubting these projects, I'm just saying, is there something we've
Not
left off, or
Left off.
have you thought the priorities through?
well, we had this 25-year thing in this booklet.
Right,
And obviously, these prices have increased.
right.
I
mean, we had a list floating around a few years ago that Greg and I worked on, and it came up to like 225 million.
The 25-year
We didn't
facility,
really send that around much, it was more like,
I think we
okay,
looked
what
at
do
it-
what do we think
I
about
think we
this?
looked at it when we
We
first
did.
started this year, we
Okay,
and it's
It's
in last
this one.
year's thing.
it's,
it may be that, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
no,
wanna just point out that we did already appropriate the design money associated with the DPW project.
Right.
And I had a facilities planning meeting earlier today where we talked about it, and I cautioned Chuck and Nate just to say, there's a lot of different projects that are kind of in the hopper right now, and, the timing of this may need to get pushed out a bit, but it's still, even if it's pushed out, 3, 4, 5 years, it's still gonna be lumped in with this traveling debt service, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the additional stuff on the list was the Bennett Street at 4 million. DPW garage at 21 million.
Right.
Public safety at 30 million.
Resilience,
Resiliency at 30 million.
30.
And sewer treatment plant relocation. Oh, we don't know, we need to
How much
do
was that?
70.
and I didn't hear,
And those were 30-year bonds, not 20.
I didn't hear Gravelly Pond PFAS on that.
Well, the PFAS here was listed at 19 million.
Total,
That
I
was
think that was
total,
like for both.
Yeah, that was for both.
but Lincoln
Oh,
climbed
that's
up.
okay.
Lincoln climbed up. I
Yeah.
mean,
Because I think it was like
Gravelly,
11
they
million at one
supposedly doesn't need
as much.
any building
They
and
they
new building.
They can modify the existing filtration system.
That's my understanding, yeah.
I mean, and it's
It's only gonna be a few million.
about when you go out 25 years or whatever, you're basically probably at the end of the life or approaching end of life of the high school. The scary thing is, we're always kind of gotta be in the school building business.
Right.
When the debt rolls off of one thing, you're kind of around, but that building is approaching 20 years old right now.
So I get back to
22
the
years old.
question,
Opened in 2009.
are the items on this capital budget need to do?
Well, I think that, we also have to look at the uses or the purposes of these things. Health, public safety.
Huh.
I mean, I went to a high school where the school building was built in 1870. And the Latin grammar was just as tough when I was there as it was in 1870.
Yep.
So maybe all school buildings don't necessarily have to be torn down and rebuilt.
Right.
I mean, of course, it could be,
Big
who knows,
advocate of that.
who knows? But I think we have to look at the purposes for which these capital undertakings are undertaken, so, and screen out,
Nice to have.
yeah.
I mean, I think PFAS,
I think
I
this is a
think that
good
most
list.
people
I-
want clean water.
I think, well, that's a safety,
Yeah.
but health,
Yeah.
health,
Yeah.
health,
Drinking it for a while.
area.
You look fine.
Yes, Ann.
May I add something on the school question? at the 25-year mark for that school, which is about 2030, they're going to need massive upgrades in science labs and in systems. So it's not as much as a whole new school, but it is what will allow us to use that school
Mhm.
perhaps for more than another 50 years.
Okay. It's good maintenance practices.
Which in some ways argues what I've been arguing for and have at other institutions is funded depreciation. That the real cost of running anything
Right.
has to include setting monies aside so that when they have to be replaced, there's a sinking fund or at least a kitty that you can draw on.
Yeah,
a
but
little
you know, I disagree with that regarding the taxes we charge residents. I mean, do we want to charge residents for 30 years to accumulate a kitty to build a new school in 30 years? I don't think so. I think we want it more pay-as-you-go, that when the charge comes up, whoever's a resident then starts paying for it.
Yeah, the Department of Revenue really doesn't allow sinking funds.
Funded depreciation, right.
But
Well, government, you look at our federal government as a great example.
I would just say that I don't think our position is unique. You know, this is any town USA, you know, with a couple of minor exceptions. We deal with some coastal issues that, you know, other towns don't deal with. But I don't think, we chose for years not to do anything about, you know, pipes and wires.
Right.
So, and then we consciously chose to pursue over a long period of time, kind of upgrade and replacement project. And I don't know, it would be a shame to see that wither away.
Well, and the other thing we have to remember is that in the operating budget, we expect next year to have a flip of about 700,000.
Yeah.
With the OPEB. And it's possible that some of that 700,000 could be used to fund some of these projects before we incur the long-term debt.
Great.
That we have another year or so. And if CST comes online, that's another 500,000.
Or be used to pay debt service. I mean, it's new cash.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
but-
just trying to support the point, I think. that's all.
Well, but next year, if we have an extra 700,000,
Right,
we can't really prepay the debt service.
no, I understand
And
that.
so the only way to keep the debt service down is to put cash towards the projects and decrease the amount of new
Right,
bonds we take
Right,
out.
right, if they've
think.
gone to bonds,
Yeah.
if they've not gone to bonds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To decrease the long term.
Yeah,
Hey, Sarah, I
Funding,
wanted to
yeah.
ask, we spent several years kind of working Greg over to get him to, you know, sort of stop what we thought was underestimating receipts and
Yep.
overestimating, you know, expenses.
Right.
But yet, you know, to his point, all those years, you know, to have that, you know, what became a capital exclusion kind of money was very helpful when it came to things like these, you know, like a Tappan Street project or Bennett Street. I don't think we've really talked about that in much depth, you know, for this year, so I'm not sure where we are in terms of
Well,
tracking, you know, that kind of process.
where's the whole capital budget?
I mean, it is a bit of a philosophical change, because we really did try to kind of live with CapEx
Yeah.
for 7 years, 8 years.
Yeah.
And it went well, but, you know, some of these projects have come along that don't fit within the CapEx envelope anymore.
Well,
And so it's a bigger game, I guess. you
And I
could say,
think
but-
one thing we have to remember is because we're reducing the capital exclusion from 660 down to 250,
Mhm,
that the base tax rate's only going up about 2%.
mhm. That's right.
So 0.5% of this capital increase
Right,
is not quote unquote a current tax increase.
right. But this is sort of the nature
It's
of
the
my
net
question
difference.
about 5-7 years from now, when the next Tappan Street comes along and the public safety building and repairs to, we're gonna be layering another one of these things
Sure.
on, I don't know, 5-7 years, something.
Yeah.
So just need to be aware of that.
Yeah,
We've also been rescued by a rather large increase in our assessed values over the last few years. Like, big time.
Big time.
yeah, the next slide here is a look back. The town, to some of the points that are being made here, the town is, I would say, actively tried to counter the increased valuation with either a zero, tax rate increase or limited amounts. So I know it's a lot this year and looking forward, but there is a little bit of a story to tell looking back, that the town's tried really hard to limit that impact on the residents.
Which is great. It's great.
It's great on the rate side, but because values have gone up, which you hold on to, so that's a positive, but your tax bill doesn't exactly tell the same story.
No, it
Right.
doesn't.
Yeah.
Right.
And to the free cash thing that you're talking about there, Andy. So a couple slides back, as Andrew was saying, she's held 1.3 for capital going forward, and looking at that capital schedule. Tried to do an analysis of like what of those projects would fit in that 1.3 versus what would be a debt exclusion vote. And 1.3 really isn't enough to cover that. So as you look forward, the operating budget becomes harder and harder. I know you've worked a lot about, how we do reserves and having some of it in stabilization and having some of it in free cash. I think you could maintain the philosophy of estimating, how much free cash comes in. I think it's worth another time, another day to think about potentially, shifting slowly some of that reserves left in free cash to stabilization so that you have that free cash for the growth of 1.3. But I think that's a longer conversation
how
for
that
later.
helps, but-
Later.
I don't see how that helps. I mean, our total reserves are the sum of the stabilization of the free cash.
Does our bond rating or
Well, eventually,
accountants, pay attention to stabilization versus free cash? I know we've always tried to maintain kind of a
Our
ratio,
auditors
but
have
our
said
ratio is
no.
pretty low
Right.
compared to a lot of other communities on that.
And our
Meaning they have much more
stabilization
instead-
is higher than what the policy we set.
Right, yes.
And
Because.
most communities have more in stabilization, is that
Right,
right?
because it takes more of a vote to get
Yes.
it out.
Well, I don't know if it
And,
still does, it
so-
used to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still does?
2/3.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I thought it was 1.5, I thought it was 50%.
Well, at some point we were told it
I thought,
changed.
yeah, I thought it
but
changed.
I don't,
I think it's been putting money into it. You used to need the 2/3 votes to put money into it,
Oh,
and that
okay.
changed to 50-50, but you still need the 2/3 to get it out.
Oh,
okay, so
I
that was
see.
kind of yeah, I think we were,
So just
It's like,
just a
you know-
So if we
mechanical
have-
question, I know Essex has all these reserve funds. Do they have to go 2/3 to pull any of it out on a regular basis? Interesting,
they've been pulling it out.
but that's an interesting hurdle to
Yeah.
talk through people.
I mean, I see, for me, I think stabilization, the priority should be for operating expenses, God forbid, some major economic catastrophe, you have the money there to keep the cash flow and the lights on. it's hard to do both, like have stabilization and a capital reserve. It's just, you don't have enough, there's not enough there to like really to get to that point. But if we have how much free got certified, 2 point,
I'm looking at a lot of numbers.
yeah.
Are you talking free cash, or are you talking total of free cash and stabilization?
Free cash certified amount is 2 point something million. We leave a certain amount of that
Mm-hmm.
to count towards our reserves, and then we use, and then,
We look at the total of free cash and stabilization and say it needs to be about 8% of our operating budget. It's the total of the two. We don't treat free cash and stabilization separately, and then we only use those funds for capital. We've never used stabilization and/or free cash for operating.
Because we've never had to.
Well, I think.
Right, but that's
Well, we
our
shouldn't.
policy
Yeah.
is you don't take out of, and so that's one of the reasons why we've wanted to keep the amount of free cash down, because operating was funding, excess operating revenue was funding the free cash.
Right, which is great.
Right.
But I mean, in a way, every organization needs to have what I call working capital.
Sure.
And we are fortunate because on a cash flow basis, we collect these taxes and the taxes come in, pretty predictably.
Right.
And thank goodness.
And hot.
And they're very high. But if, for instance, there was God forbid, something where everybody decided we're not gonna pay any more real estate taxes. We're gonna stop paying real estate taxes. Well, we'd be out of business. There's no question about it. And our working capital, even if we've got a couple of $1 million and ain't gonna go very far.
Right.
On a budget of what, $30-40 million a year that we spend to keep this operation going,
So am I saying the right thing?
You are.
But I think the question on the floor was, are we in favor of these projects?
Exactly.
I mean, seems to me we have debated these
Let's-
projects very thoroughly.
Let's look at the whole capital list. Why don't we look at that?
Can I just make a comment about what Tony was saying about the stabilization versus free
Yeah.
cash? Many of I talked about this, and I didn't really understand it first, but what he said is saying, like, okay, we're gonna be keeping 8% of our operating in reserves, whether that be free cash or
Right.
stabilization. So if we're gonna be doing that anyway, why not just put all the 8% in stabilization, so that way every year when you certify your free cash, that's the number you use for capital?
We don't wanna do that.
So,
That's,
It's hard-
that
I think
clarifies a little
It's
bit.
harder to access.
We
Yeah.
felt that we had too much in stabilization, that
Yeah.
we don't, in this town, we don't need a huge reserve.
I'm not changing the amount of the reserve
Yeah, but we want to use
in what I'm saying.
our calculation for the use of capital is keeping the total reserves at about 8%, but we don't want our hands held by having all of the 8% in stabilization, so it takes 2/3 to come out. Because we could have a year, and I thought we were gonna have it this year, that we didn't,
Mhm.
that we could have a year, let's say it's fiscal year 27, and all of a sudden CST applies for a building permit, and it's $500,000. We know at the end of fiscal year 27, that 500,000 is going to go into free cash. So we could make a decision for fiscal year 28 to bring down our free cash below the 8%, knowing that the 500,000 will bring it back up to 8%. When it's certified at the end of the year. So the free cash gives us more flexibility in that light, because we can't project revenue, building fees, revenue for CST unless and until they apply for a building permit and we have an understanding of how long the construction's gonna take.
So,
And that's a big number.
so I guess what just in a theoretical approach of it is that if we have 2.6 million certified in free cash,
It's not in free cash.
That's what
Okay.
Right,
2.6.
so we're only taking about 200 something thousand of that to contribute to our capital. The rest of it is built within taxation.
No, we're taking the difference between the sum of the stabilization and the free cash minus 8% to come up with what we spend. That's what we're
Just-
spending on capital.
That's how I came up with the 225.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it happens to be 225 this
Yeah,
year,
yeah.
last year it happened to be 1.5 million, or something like that.
So if your free cash amount, let's say it stayed straight, you know, it stayed steady
We
in
wouldn't be using
future
it.
years.
We wouldn't be using it because the operating budget would be going up, so the 8% would be going up, so we wouldn't be using it.
So what I'm saying is because you have this, in this outlook, this burden growing on the need for capital within the taxation, that 1.3 doesn't seem like it's gonna be enough in the future years,
What 1.3?
what we have this year
Oh,
for
well,
capital.
then maybe we
Other
have to
taxes.
decide, maybe we have to change our policy and say we don't need 8% in reserves. I mean, that's a whole separate discussion,
Well, I'm not
unrelated to
suggesting,
this year.
no, it is, I'm not suggesting that, all I was saying was if you shifted some of that 8% from free cash, right, slowly into stabilization,
What do we gain?
then in the next year, that amount that you move to stabilization is that amount of free cash you can use towards capital the next year.
That's not what we do.
Well, it doesn't increase the amount of reserves, it's just a different, it's kind of a slow
We-
approach
We
to,
see no need to up the stabilization because we have enough and it requires a 2/3 vote. We were putting 100,000 into stabilization every year and our total reserves got up to 16%. And we said, hold on, too
Yeah,
much
yeah,
money.
I agree with you, I'm not saying build the
so-
8% up.
The issue between free cash and stabilization, the auditors say it's not an issue. We see no reason why we would want to move more into stabilization to tie our hands. Because
Well,
we look
let's-
at,
we'll come back to it
we,
another night.
we look
It's-
at both things together as one pot.
Yeah.
I don't understand, I
Yeah,
don't
what's-
understand the
what's-
benefit of putting more into
Right.
stabilization.
Well, because you're freeing up free cash
No, we're
that you're
not.
currently saving for reserves on an annual basis to be used in that current fiscal year for something like capital.
I think
Because
the
it's gonna
reserves-
sit in the
reserves
stabilization.
In a steady state, the reserves would just sit there, static. Suppose the budget didn't grow at all. 8%, that money would just sit there and do nothing. right?
Both
something
stabilization
weird
and
happens.
free cash.
Yeah, it would just sit there, we would never
Yeah.
use it, if everything was stable.
Because we look at the sum of the two, we don't look at them individually for the 8%.
So we wouldn't spend it, unless something weird happened,
Yeah.
then that's what it's for.
No, I know, but I don't know what I'm not explaining or missing, but your free cash, you're getting a sum of free cash at the end of every year,
Yeah,
right?
Yep.
Okay, so we're deciding to
We're
hold
not.
some of that for reserves.
Up to 8%.
Stabilization stays in that account.
Yes.
It doesn't grow each year, it stays, right? So what I'm saying is if you start to shift some of that, what you're holding in the reserve side, and put it in the stabilization account, the next year, that free cash amount that comes in that you would hold that amount for your reserve now becomes available for
No,
one-time use.
that's not the way we're doing the calculation. We're not using money coming into free cash this year in the next year's budget. We're looking at the 8% overall between stabilization and free cash. And
Does what I
whatever's
said make
left
sense
over-
though?
What?
What I just said makes
No.
sense? Okay, all right, so let's just move on.
This discussion
All
should
right.
be had
Let's just move
at
on.
some other time in a
Yeah.
different form.
Excellent.
Let's move on.
Let's look at this sheet he gave us, the Article 5,
There we go.
all the capital budgets.
Yep.
And
What?
Culpa, I added a capital request in there.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
We have to find it as cemetery
My bad.
software,
Yes,
highlighted in
I
blue.
thought-
Good one.
Why not green?
sorry.
Sorry.
I thought we just needed a
Definitely need
select
that.
board vote, to move money from the perpetual care funds, because they're the cemetery commissioners, but we need an actual town meeting vote for that.
What's the cemetery software?
It's,
Can we not just stick with like written logbooks?
we can, but it's a lot easier, like, it also, the software also like connects to our GIS system, and it's a better way of tracking like burial plots, and things like that, instead of the old cards and. a lot of-
Having gone through this in the last year, not myself personally, but for a family member, I definitely could see some improvement in this area.
Okay.
Things were
It's
not
been-
where they were
it's been
supposed
needed.
to be in the ground, so.
Yeah.
It's
been very needed for a while.
Some
And
movement.
is that
Yeah.
the difference? It tracks that more effectively?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
Sounds, beginning to sound like a Gothic novel.
Something's moving around in the middle of the night.
Okay,
Is this like a one-time thing that'll last for a long time?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
eternity.
Forever?
That'd be nice.
That's what happens when you get in the ground, you know.
Right.
Information.
Okay. So we have all these items, and we have funding, taxation, fund balance, borrowing, capital exclusion, sewer retained earnings, and care funds. We don't have any harbor funds on this list.
What are care funds? Care funds are.
Perpetual care.
Okay, that's what just,
Cemetery.
that's what just what you said, the
Cemetery
care funds,
funds.
yeah, okay, yeah.
Question is the dredging, that's the town's commitment on this. Is there other things contributing to that, like grants or anything like that?
Yeah, there's a
Okay.
50% grant.
Now, I just asked the question, is it enough? And I know we're trying to save, but we come around and do this about every 10 or 15 years. Are we doing the job completely enough so that we get like a 15-year run out of that as opposed to a,
We changed the bond to 10 years.
right? I'm thinking about the
Thinking
job.
we do dredging every 10 years, a portion.
Right, I'm sort of thinking about the job itself, like are we doing enough of the job so that this won't come back on the list?
For that
For a
period of
while.
time.
Like Mother Nature's working out there, are we doing enough to?
It's like actually
Push
like
it
a
out.
40-year cycle for all 4 locations.
Okay.
We do one every 10 years and cycle it.
And
But the question is whether 10 years is the right period for both Mother Nature and the bond. And I guess the answer,
It's-
I understand, yes.
I think the answer is yes, and
And-
mine would have a better answer, be better to answer that question, but
And one of my questions was, we're collecting dredging fees.
And we've collected about $70,000 so far.
I can't hear
Is
you.
that
$70,000 so far we've collected.
for, what's that, 1 year?
2 years, 2.5 years. And it does not include this year, the bills just went out, so that money will be coming in.
So we're not collecting very much.
no.
If we need 1.9 million every 10 years.
Essentially,
I know that, and again, this is sort of did this with a friend, looking at the amount of siltation coming into the harbor and sampling depths from 1985 and 1987, combining them and then looking at the most recent dredging. And I think we came up with a really rough order number that is about, to Gar's point, like 275,000 a year ought to be put aside to basically hold even on dredging. And the amount of stuff filling in the harbor costs us about $275,000 a year to keep up with, rough order magnitude. So it's not we're not collecting enough.
So we
but-
can't use any of that money to offset this cost, because we're gonna
Right.
need it 10 years from now.
And who knows, the next 10 years or 15 years might be a lower number, a higher
Yeah.
number. So
Okay.
prices are not getting cheaper, so it's probably gonna be a higher number.
Why can't
Yeah, and half of this is a grant
use
fund.
this, What can't we use what
Which
was
isn't a
collected?
guarantee.
There's just not enough there to
Okay,
make
in
it
other words,
worth
it's the
it.
magnitude.
Yeah,
But it would encourage us to, urge the selectmen to raise that fee. Make
Exactly.
that- Okay,
yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
CLS at the time, yeah.
There is an awkwardness. We have about the highest mooring rates in Massachusetts. And the law technically says that you can only have a mooring fee that accounts for the paperwork and tracking the moorings. Nobody does that. But
Is that true?
that's what the law says.
But it's one of our revenue sources.
Yeah. And, probably nobody will ever bring a case against that, but from the select board point of view, I don't wanna raise a big flag about that.
I mean, we do hope that with the Reed Park float extension, we'll get more revenue in through Docwa, which theoretically, most of that will come from non-Manchester by the Sea boaters, right? So that's a net positive to our tax base, or
Yeah, our revenue base, yeah.
our revenue base.
Yeah.
And then looking at the fees.
Okay, I got the answer, yeah.
I'm still concerned about the match on the Morse Pier. I asked for information. It appears as this is to benefit 6 to 7 boats, which is about 20,000 each. And I asked whether they were Manchester residents, and I received a roundabout answer saying we can't discriminate about non-residents. Well, we have the right to determine whether we're gonna fund a project based on whether it's Manchester residents or not, because it's Manchester taxpayers' money. And I don't know whether those people are Manchester residents or they're all non-Manchester residents, but if they're non-Manchester residents, I have a concern about spending $113,000 of taxpayers' money to benefit people who could be at some other port.
It's commercial, right?
Yep.
So I thought the town has said, we wanna keep a commercial fishery here.
It's a nice thought.
But this is enhancing revenue by having those
No,
docks be
there's
able.
no this is a match on a grant that was received to expand Morse Pier. There's really no revenue from Morse Pier. I think that it used to be that the winch they have, maybe they
This
pay
is the commercial
$450 a
stuff, yeah.
year.
Thanks,
So
I was
like $1,000
confusing that.
per.
Yeah.
So it'll be like $6,000 to $7,000 per year. It's
Six-
$1,000 per
Boat.
commercial boat. And this project will also alleviate congestion and navigational hazards in the harbor as well, to provide commercial and recreational community with improved access to navigable waters.
And it's not,
So
it's not,
just,
so some of the commercial boats that are on moorings now will go to the dock. Not all those moorings, we wanna remove some of those for the navigation piece, but the others will become available.
I see.
Do we,
And then grants, yeah, so, where did he put that in there?
he didn't, I did it at the top.
I
So in
mean,
addition, this would assist the town in being eligible to receive any future grant funding opportunities.
Yeah,
For
so
what?
I think for any grants, SEC grants, that most of the grant programs that we've been able to utilize for dredging or other harbor projects, having commercial in the harbor
Helps us with that.
benefits our competitiveness in that.
But I don't see the Morse Pier project really impacts whether or not we have commercial. We have
Well, you
it
have-
today. And people have to get in a little dinghy to get to their boat.
I mean, you have an aging, you certainly have like an aging workforce,
Yeah,
and you also have an aging pier. So, to incentive, to try to help keep that fishery around, making investment in it will hopefully bring the next generation into the fold. I mean, as that pier deteriorates, it's certainly not a benefit to the future of the commercial enterprise, so.
but you can repair the pier without extending it to the extent it's been, without the scope of this project.
Well, then you don't, you don't get the improvement to the navigation, you don't free up a couple more moorings for people on a wait list. In my opinion, I think that, if we were funding this project completely on our own, I'd be probably a little bit more on where you're sitting on this, but where you have the grant funding included, I think it's a net benefit to the town.
Do we have a sense of what the fishing revenues are coming into the town?
None. She's saying
It'll just be
$1,000 per
$1,000 per year
boat.
per boat.
I meant, yeah.
We don't get any portion of the catch.
No, I'm just generally curious, as a business, if you think of the fishermen as a business, what's the revenue coming in there?
What does a
Because-
boat earn?
Because I've heard some numbers in the past, which I don't believe,
numbers,
and if the
yeah.
numbers are that big, then it would be like, somebody ought to be funding this themselves as opposed to the town. I just wanna make sure we don't get to town meeting and somebody raises their hand and says, the revenue from fishing landings in Manchester is this, and everybody says, why are we paying for this when these businesses could be offsetting it? It's more of a, let's not get ourselves in a corner on that one. That's why I'm asking the question, so.
There certainly was something a number of years ago to the tune of 600,000.
I can live with that number. I heard a number that was 3.5 times that.
Oh,
And I
okay.
was thinking 18-wheelers rolling into town to support that.
Oh.
I don't think that's where we are, so.
I mean, the only way we
I haven't
would be
seen
able to
anything.
capture more of that is through the fees, right?
I'm thinking of it less about.
The landings, the
I'm-
value.
I'm thinking of it less about revenue to the town and more like, what's the scope of that business and what's its ability to
What a
pay for its
person making.
resource?
Yeah,
Is the way I'm looking at
Fairness,
it,
actually.
yeah.
so.
Interesting that we charge half the mooring fee for commercial.
Do we really?
So, again, another thing to look at.
I kind of lost the thread on this whole Morse Pier thing, whether or not it was, like, was it an expansion that was sought and therefore we pursued the grant and that's why it is the project it is? Or we got a grant and the grant supports
This-
an
I think it's
expansion?
This was
I think it's the
something that's
latter.
been in the works for years.
Yeah.
And I think the finance committee recommended against going for the grant
Okay.
years ago.
But they did anyway,
They did anyway.
and they got the grant,
They got the grant.
which is how much?
113.
No, the 113 is a 20% match.
So it must be 500,000. Something like
Yeah,
that.
something like
Let's-
480 or something like
Yeah,
that,
something,
yeah.
say 500. So
Yeah,
they got a $500,000 grant, and we got about a 20%, or about 100,000.
yeah.
And we're deciding not, whether or not we should put up 100,000. And for that, we're gonna get a bigger pier or an improved pier
Right.
and a couple of places for 3 or 4 boats to tie up all the
Yeah.
time. That's another question. Do you wanna have stinky fishing boats tied up at Masconomo
It's
Park all the
going
time?
to-
That's okay.
It's
Never
gonna
mind.
tie into the Reed Park dock, I
And
believe.
it all becomes what? So, I mean, are we, so what?
Yeah.
Just spend the 100,000. Let's not
Yeah, I think
let's
that's
not
small
get
potatoes,
ourselves
is what I
Okay,
think.
fine.
tangled up in our underwear about
Yeah.
this.
Thank you.
Let's say you spend $100,000 to get a $600,000 asset.
Yeah, I mean,
No,
That's
it
an okay deal.
can't be too
Okay.
bad.
The other part of it, another possible part of it, is we're worrying about a harbor master office. And the harbor master office will have bathrooms. And the people who use Masconomo Park would like it in Masconomo Park. And if we have a continuous bridge, then the harbor master can get to his boat without having to run all the way around.
But we don't have a harbor master office on any of our
Yep.
long-term capital plans.
That's true.
Yeah.
Nor do we have bathrooms.
Just to set the record straight, it's not on our 25th
No,
five-year capital
true.
plan.
That's true.
Including a houseboat.
Right.
That houseboat's still out there somewhere, I'm convinced.
Okay.
I'm sure it is.
And I guess I'll just say generally, if our goal is to bring in enough revenue to try to assist or cover the cost of the dredging that we have to do, no matter what, and we wanna try and bring that revenue in through grants or fees and things like that, you know, using grants to improve the overall asset for floats, you know, different harbor projects, a harbor master facility will help us attract, you know, those long-term stays and that extra revenue through DACWA and things like that. So that's the general, like, high-level kind of approach on it.
Well, let's put that discussion off to another day.
Yep.
And go forward with this.
After we've expanded all of our docks and see what revenue we receive to cover the cost of a harbor master's office.
Right.
Right?
So,
Sounds
so-
good.
Right,
It's not in this budget.
it's not, yep.
You know, your focus was, do we have any question on these projects?
Correct. I raised the one I had a question on. We decided my concern was not valid, so we should go ahead with it. So does anybody have any other
well, I mean,
concerns?
I just look at the big ones,
Yeah?
you know. I guess we're gonna do the rotunda, that's not up for grabs,
I don't
right?
think so, no.
Okay, so there we got that one in there.
I mean, the culvert, we gotta do,
Gonna do the culvert or else we can't drive across.
right? And we're hoping maybe we'll get a grant to cover it, but we
Okay.
don't know.
We've also invested a lot in that project and time, effort, and engineering. It's
Permitting.
just gonna get that over the finish line and call it done.
Yeah,
The ADA bathroom in the library,
Yeah, no, I think
I'm in
that's-
favor of
That's
that.
a go.
I've been
That's
in the
a,
bathroom that's there, I haven't used it, but.
well, you get in, you might not get out. Never
Um,
mind.
sewer system improvements,
Gar, you add color.
Thank you, Peter.
road resurfacing. That's a hefty number.
But that's about what we do,
Drainage
that's about what we do every year.
Is that, we have a run rate on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the real action is, you know, these bigger projects. The rest is kind of keeping up with things.
And this is the last year with the biggest phases. Oh, 12 grand.
Save yourself up there.
Hmm.
I mean, we've got
No, one thing we
about
did-
28 million in the last 5 items. And,
Yeah.
you know, typically, in a given year over the last 10, we might only have 2 or 3 million as a thing. So we're kind of maybe paying the piper now, or we're funding ahead on a bunch of things that need work, but it's all kind of landing on this year.
Well, I think that for a number of years, we spent a lot of money on water and sewer lines. The
Yes, it
sewer to get rid of the INI, the water because they're 100 years old. And so we spent a lot of money on that. The PFAS we didn't expect.
Right.
Somebody
That's-
invented PFAS, we didn't even know they were doing it, but they did, and
I know.
apparently it's real.
And
It's hitting DPW, now it's hitting the fire department with turnout gear. You know,
Right.
I'm curious where else it's gonna go, but that's another discussion.
yeah,
Coming to a budget here.
so I think
We
the real,
applied for a federal grant today for design on gravelly for PFAS as well.
Yeah.
We're trying to, you know,
Good.
pick
Yeah.
at everything we can pick at.
Yeah, but you know, I think that if we didn't have the PFAS,
Yeah.
I don't think we'd be having a discussion.
No.
Right.
And I don't see that there's much we can, I mean, I think they've spent a lot of time and effort
Yeah.
trying to figure out what they need to do. Unfortunately, the building's not large enough. I still haven't figured out which building it is.
But I think it's free well.
Yeah,
Oh, well, yeah, they need
is it the brick one?
they need a separate additional building to house the equipment for this
Yeah.
project, yeah.
Is it the brick one?
It's gonna
They're both brick, that's the one on the right.
The one beyond the overpass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when you go,
Yep.
when you go under that, to the left, there's two buildings there, one on the left and one on the right. The one on the right is being rebuilt.
This is closer to the school? Or on
It's not the old building that's sort of been condemned. It's the ones that are under the overpass. They're just square brick
closer to
buildings that are
Memorial.
functional buildings.
How big are
Close,
they?
oh, closer to them, okay.
I don't know, like
Small, currently small, yeah.
150, 250 square feet, not that big.
Oh, that's why I haven't
I mean, as
noticed
Chuck
it.
Oh, so
explained,
yeah, so
they're
when you
putting
said
in
the
a
brick
ton
building,
of
you're talking about
piping.
the old, the
Yeah,
condemned one.
That's the only one I
Right.
thought was
Oh, yeah.
there,
The one we
okay,
can't use.
Yeah.
right,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's proximity to the.
And we also can't use it because of the stream
right.
between it and the
Yeah.
other buildings.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah, so you probably wouldn't even,
so it's not a big building we're increasing the size of?
No,
Oh,
and it's,
okay.
no.
Yeah, and the design is, I don't know, pretty close to being complete as I
Yeah.
last saw it.
And
It's
what-
done, yeah,
what
it's
size
100%
is the
designed.
construction? What size is the building are they adding?
I don't know how many square feet it is, I don't know.
I
Chunks
just
off
wrote
lines.
about it, it's in the, it's in the cricket, I just wrote about it.
Hit the cricket.
and it's
I think it's going from about 100 square feet is the current well building, and it's literally just a wellhead.
Yeah.
And then the new building is about 900 square feet,
Oh,
but it is a little significantly taller because the equipment, has headspace requirements and, needs to be replaced in the future. But if you go on the website, the whole 100% design set is there. So
okay.
feel free to put in a price if you want.
Thanks, Mark.
My daytime job.
16 million for a 900 square foot
It's
building.
about
I think my bathroom's cheap.
4,000 square dollars per square foot.
It's like building a refinery, probably.
Yeah, right,
It's-
it's a lot of
Yeah.
process equipment.
Okay,
I think we're here.
Okay,
I think we've done it.
I don't see a lot
so do I have a motion to approve Article 5 in the amount of 31,902,492? No, sorry, wrong.
Yeah, that's right.
That's it, keep going. Oh, you got 92, yeah.
$492.
That's
I'm
sort of-
confused because there's a separate recommended, but the numbers are the same. Okay,
It just doesn't include the borrowing.
yeah, okay.
Funding sources.
Do I have a second? Oh, do I have a motion?
of, I'll make the motion, yeah.
And I'll second it.
Okay.
Or Maureen,
Peter
whatever.
can
Any more
second it.
discussion? Vote. John?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes,
Gar?
Yes,
Maury?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes,
And Sarah votes yes. And one of my plans is in the FinCom report is to try to break out each of these big projects, to kind of explain
yeah,
that number one, we do the appropriation and then we do the bonding, when we finish the project. But then to break out each of these projects with this information that Andrea had, just so people understand what the impact is
right,
on the tax rate. I also was gonna do a section on the tax rate calculation. 101 is, so people can understand
Yeah.
the levy calculation, then you add the debt exclusion and divide it by the assessment. So if your assessments go up faster than 2.5%, your tax rate goes down.
Andrea, have we talked to our bank about what adding a whole bunch of borrowing might do to our either credit rating or our capacity to borrow?
Not directly, but when I've talked to our financial advisor, we're, even with the 30 million added, we're so far below our maximum borrowing capacity that we come up.
Okay,
So each subsequent year now, you guys are gonna have to come back and say, okay, how much are we gonna borrow to push these projects along wherever they are?
no,
No,
we're doing bond anticipation notes
Oh, okay, so that's
For-
all,
for the amount of construction as it moves along. So
right,
Andrea figures out how much money she needs and does a bond anticipation note
each year.
each year,
But
but
we're
those numbers
approving
come back
all of the,
here,
we're
and
approving
you say,
all,
okay,
we're-
Andrew's gonna tell you what these projects are.
no, we're approving all of the borrowing right
approving it
now.
I understand you're approving all of it, but you're not gonna take it all tomorrow. You're gonna take a little bit at a time based upon.
So each year in the budget, the debt service will
Yes.
include the bond
And that's
anticipation
gonna
note.
be, that'll
Yeah.
move around, and what you're
Right.
seeing here is not necessarily what it's gonna be,
Right.
that's my point.
Right,
So you're gonna have to look at that every year and say, okay, I approve it, you were gonna borrow 500,000 for this project this year, now you're gonna have to borrow 750 because it's going faster, or slower, or whatever, but you know what your top is.
and then we'll know, like when we get grants, all
Well,
these grants that are gonna come from the sky. From Iran.
Understood.
Yeah, okay.
Can we continue with the packet? I have one more slide left.
And which is it?
It's
The very
the
last line.
very last slide, it's the
says,
fiscal 2026 additional debt service. That's kind of what I brought up last meeting. So just get a quick summary. So in June of 2025, the town issued 4.1 million of the 7.5 million already authorized at the April 2024 meeting. The 4.1 relates to the water system improvements that included the water meter replacement project. Interest on the ban is $164,000 and is due June of 2026. We did not include that in our debt service for FY '26. So our DOR rep, when I was doing the tax recap, said, okay, you have $17,000 of premium that we received in addition, after paying off the issuance costs. So we have to use that. And then we need another 146, which I've already raised for '26. I just need an appropriation vote for it. So that's one vote that I need. And then the next one is, we've received $271,000 for water meter fees or water capital assessment fees. And we have talked about before when we did this borrowing authorization that we were gonna use that capital assessment to pay down that debt.
Right,
And so this is, I didn't have that number at the time, but this is what's in retained earnings right now from the water capital assessment that I wanna use to pay down that 4.1 million.
That's good.
Right. Right. Got it.
So I need the two votes for 164,000 with the funding sources of the premium and taxes from FY '26, and then 271,000 of water retained earnings.
is this votes from us or votes from town?
Both.
I move we proceed to arrange for 271,000 of water meter fees, and 164,000 of the premium or the overage to use to pay for these water meter costs. Is that adequate?
No,
No.
So I think it's 164.
let's take it separately.
Okay,
The
So you want two motions, am I correct?
yeah, a motion to apply 271,000 of water meter fees collected
to pay
that are
down,
in water retained earnings to pay down the $4.1 million
Right.
ban before it's
So
rolled
moved.
over.
So moved.
second, okay.
Maury seconds.
Vote, John.
Yes.
Andy.
Yeah.
Gar.
Yes,
Maury.
Yes.
Peter.
Yes.
Sarah votes yes. Now, this other one I'm confused on.
this
Yeah,
is the
you might need help on this one.
164,000 of premium from the notes that monies we didn't use.
No, we got
Proceeds.
17,577 from premium.
Yes.
I get
Plus-
that.
Plus 146,000.
Where'd that come from?
Taxation.
You said you raised it,
I did, on the FY '26.
so it was in our
Taxes.
budget.
It's,
Okay,
I've raised the revenue, I just don't have the appropriation to pay it.
okay, it's not like you've
I
taken it
still have the
out of
money, I just,
fiscal year 26 other budgets.
No.
You had it in the budget we approved.
yes, I just don't
Oh,
have
clever.
the expense
Very
appropriation
clever.
for it.
So.
So I already have the revenue sitting aside, I just need the vote to spend it.
So we need a motion to approve
Two,
using the 17,577 of premium received on the issuance of the 164,000 ban and 146,423 raised from taxation in fiscal year 26.
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Guy,
Yes.
Maureen.
Yes.
Peter.
Yes.
Sarah votes yes. Is that
Thank you.
sufficient?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay. Phew, you did that.
thank you for laying it out.
Yeah.
I tried to, I'm usually really wordy, so I really tried to make it.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So we're finished with capital. Hallelujah.
Held items?
Yes, so we have, so is the debt service we need to approve in this one?
It is.
Okay. Where would I find that? There's no table of contents.
It is on page.
It's right behind
Is
capital.
it in that separate handout?
Thank
It's in
you.
the set, I included it in that handout, yes.
It's included,
It's,
yeah. It's at 78, I think.
71, right? It's in front of
71,
capital,
Page
okay.
71.
71. Oh, yeah.
It's the one she sent at 6:49 tonight, Maureen.
Yes, I know.
You got that?
Yeah, I put it online.
You're good.
Okay,
So we're voting for $1,171,171,144. Is that correct?
Yes.
could you just take a moment? So the WPAT administration fee, what's that all about?
So that's the Mass Water Pollution Abatement Trust administration fee. So we borrow debt from them and they charge like a small administrative fee.
I see.
Okay. So maturing, principal, long-term interest, temporary loan. So the temporary loan was during the bans?
Yes.
And can you remind us what those bands were for?
Well, that is an anticipation of whatever we might borrow.
Okay, so
We
that's
did.
based on the capital budget we just approved,
And how we
the bands
finance
for
it.
those projects.
Got it.
Okay,
So I'm hoping I put that in there so that way next year I don't have to come back to you with that vote that you just did for 26.
Right.
And is that
Clean it
impacted, is that number
Yeah.
impacted by pushing off the culvert a year? Or we don't
No.
wanna worry, no, okay, we don't wanna worry about that anymore.
And I just want to make a note too, this temporary loans, this 360, anything that would be, like if I don't use it, I don't raise it.
Right. So it doesn't go into the, well, it goes into the tax rate if we're approving the service debt, right? Debt service.
Only if I
Once you
use
draw
it,
Okay, okay,
because it's over and above 2.5%. So I raise it if I need it.
okay.
so this relates.
So these are for 4 outstanding existing bonds.
Okay,
So you have a motion, do you need a second?
I need a motion to approve the $1,171,144 for debt service.
So moved.
Before you ask for a second,
remind me again, for
Can-
what, which loan, which?
Let's
Well-
have a second first and then you ask your
Okay,
question.
thank you.
Second.
Gar seconds, okay, discussion.
just to remind me, which borrow, this is a water, borrowing is for what purpose?
There's 4 different municipal purpose loans. It includes land acquisition, building construction, land cleanup, water system improvements, sewer system improvements.
Okay.
So what we did is when we have a lot of authorizations and then we would go out to bond. And so
Yes.
that would just be a municipal purpose loan.
Oh,
So it includes multiple categories underneath that.
thank you.
And then I just take the debt service in
I
total.
didn't know what that was saying to me.
Yeah,
Okay, and we
yes.
sort of do it every year. I mean, it changes a little bit, right? But it
It does change a little bit.
basically.
The, and these are, how many year bonds?
They are little hard to tell because we did refinance
Okay.
a couple. But that municipal purpose loan of 2011,
Yeah.
that gets paid off in FY '31. The loan of 2014 gets paid off in '32. The loan of 2018 gets paid off in '33, and then the WPAT one gets paid off in '37.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, the good news is we're paying $645,000 of the principal, which I always like to see.
And only 164,000 in rent, in interest. Okay, any more questions on the debt service?
No.
We're ready to vote?
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Gar,
Yes.
Maureen,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Sarah votes yes. Next one is the emergency, fire emergency,
Emergency management.
yes.
So I talked to you about, we got a quote to do drone flyover surveying of our coastal properties so that we can be prepared to potentially have to make claims for storm damage to FEMA in the future. We have the first time you do it, when you create that baseline, that's the expensive element of it at around $15,000. And then annually, they'll come out and fly the coastal properties, and that's only about $2,000. And then if you have a big storm and you want them to come out like on call, it would be $2,000. So we found $15,000 in the current year's budget so that we can just get the first year done. And so we reduced the ask here to $4,000. So we have the extra $2,000 in case we need it, but hopefully we only spend $2,000 a year.
Wow.
Is this for the town-owned portions of the coastline?
So
or for the whole thing?
The first year is the entire coastline of the town, and then that $2,000 is just town-owned property.
So that budget is now adjusted by
4,000.
4,000.
And the annual updates if needed.
Got it.
So I have a motion to approve the fire emergency management budget in the amount of $11,500.
So moved.
Andy moves, do I have a second?
Second.
John seconds. Any more discussion? Vote, John,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Gar,
Yes.
Maury,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Sarah votes yes. Okay. The other thing I did want to point out is the school budget came down
Oh,
another almost 73,000,
what happened?
decrease in the insurance, health insurance.
Oh, we've got the health insurance.
Yeah.
School, that's the school. We did too, but the school saw a pretty significant
Yeah.
improvement.
Um,
Oh, that's hunky dory.
yeah,
Okay.
but,
Oh, but
so fire,
now has a but.
yeah, but, do you have the sanitation one in here?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But DPW sanitation, that came in a little higher.
Significantly higher.
Page 57. Like the funds on here.
I'm looking for where to find these.
57,
Page 57.
it's right, the other side of debt service.
Other side of course I should have known.
So I guess what we're walking through here is, we got updated number from the school. We got an updated number from Essex Tech as well, which was less than what we originally had in
did?
there. And then we remember we had about another 20-something thousand that we hadn't appropriated yet.
Yep.
So we took the sum of that to help cover the sanitation number that came in high to cover that additional emergency management, 4,000. We put an additional 25,000 into legal, and then we're also increasing our revenues on trash bags because those fees need to go up according to the cost of the service as well. So then now we could go, that's the bigger picture.
Did we get a new number on group health insurance that brought ours down?
So our number came in at 14.4%,
Okay.
which is only about a $10,000 difference than what we have in there. And I'm still going through contract negotiations, so I prefer to just leave it at the 15% that we have it in.
I see, just leave it.
But with this change, we'll have to revote the legal and professional.
Yeah, we'll have to go back to legal and
We don't
revote.
leave it.
So
Once and done.
on the sanitation, I mean, so raising the cost on the price on the bags, the revenue on the bags, but that's only a 1-year thing, right? Because next year we're gonna have to go to something other than bags. Are we doing something in the short term that's just gonna hurt us in the longer term here?
And when more people
We
throw
got
out,
the 700,000 swing in the revenue in the taxes next year.
We keep bringing that up,
I
but
know,
I
I've
feel
used
like
it
it's
20
been, I
times.
feel like it's been used multiple times and.
More than $700,000
Yeah,
worth.
exactly. It's like an echo, you know? I'm not keeping track.
Yeah, I mean, we have a serious, you know, when it comes to the sanitation budget, all of these haulers are going to automated collection.
Right.
And in fact, the price that we got was for automated collection. But we explained to them we wouldn't be able to do that by July 1st. So we may get a little bit of a surcharge, we built that into this cost. But we really need to switch to automated collection. Right now, our revenue, you know, from bags is 300 something thousand dollars. So when we switch to automated collection, we're gonna have a significant budget gap.
Right.
Unless we offset that with fees, which I know we,
And
you
the
know,
containers themselves, I don't know if that's been,
well, hopefully we can get those paid through a grant. We could finance them through a long-term contract, but the loss of the bag revenue is the big issue. But in the short term,
Yeah, we keep going.
you know, our bags, our large roll is about $16, I think. A lot of towns are in the low 20s, and our contract just went up significantly. So I think it's reasonable to increase the bag fee.
we won't
You
find
know,
more trash
but it
along the
won't-
roads, will we? I mean, one thing Greg constantly mentioned was, you know, there's a point of where we end up more trash along the roads, and you're not,
No, uniform barrels are gonna be a positive on that, because now you're gonna have recycling in a barrel versus an open container. Trash is gonna have to be in a barrel as well.
okay.
I mean, do you think of, when I pick up a thing of bags, I don't kind of know what I'm paying for.
Oh.
It's not,
You want printed on the back?
there's no tag on it to tell you. I don't know, do other people pay attention to what they pay for the bags?
Well, the bags are not cheap. I mean, they're $16 to $20 for, I get the big bags and that's, you know, it doesn't break the bank or anything, but, yeah, I'm aware of it. I guess my question is, how much do these automated barrels, maybe we make everybody buy their own automated barrels and pay
That
for them.
could
I mean,
be-
are they $85 a barrel or
I
something like that?
bought a big recycling one that was $150.
You must have gotten the one from Tiffany's or something.
It had big wheels and it was big and it went down to the street.
Well,
That's
that's
all,
nice.
that was
That's
my
a- yeah.
requirements.
It's an operating issue, really. You know, the cost of the contract is constant.
Right.
That even if people paid for the barrels, hopefully we can get a grant that pays for them, you don't have to pay for the barrel.
Great.
But even if they did, it would only be a one-time.
Yeah.
Well, I
revenue
guess what
stream.
I'd say is, look, you don't have to pay $20 for that roll of orange bags, but you do have to buy your
Barrel.
$840 barrel or something, whatever it is you've gotta spend.
I mean, we might be able to do you better and say you just don't have to pay for bags anymore
That would
unless
be
you
nice.
need them for the transfer station. But,
Yeah.
and then it moves the cost of trash into the tax base, but it creates a $300,000 burden on us.
So if there still are people that bring it to the facility, do they have to have those bags?
Probably, we haven't gone through the details of that part of it, but I think we would want them to still use the bags just to show that.
They made a contribution.
And when we went to the bags, which was a long time ago, it was partially because we want people to pay kind of relative to what you generated in waste. And some people didn't generate much waste, and other people generated a ton.
Yeah.
The bags worked really well for that.
And to encourage recycling.
Yeah.
Well, right,
Yeah.
so it's another, you gotta reduce
Yeah.
that.
We had stickers before the bags,
I know,
which
the
are
stickers,
lower
right.
cost to make.
I still have a lot of those stickers. I don't know what I'm gonna do with them, but.
Now,
Well, we're gonna have a bag
You
exchange.
can still use them.
Somebody starts writing in the
Yeah.
cricket about this transition,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the question is,
be
there'll
careful
be an
about that.
uproar about,
like, how do you
what
do
do we
that
do
with
with
volume,
bags?
with the barrel, right?
By
So
the way,
you're limited
I think,
you're limited to what is in the barrel.
What fits in the barrel?
So that's
If
how
if I use my barrel like once
Once a
every 3 weeks, someone uses theirs like every week,
right,
or I'm not here in the winter,
right. Yeah, no, you're paying,
The taxes are
your
paying.
taxes are paying for it, so it's not, you lose some of that pay-as-you-throw element.
Right.
But the industry just isn't.
yeah, there's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah. Now, there are other cost savings we talked about is if we go with a larger recycling barrel, or give people the opportunity to buy a second, we could switch to every other week recycling, which would cut that recycling collection cost in half. So there's a number of different things that we're gonna have to sink our teeth into.
by the way, I think Black Earth, who seems to be running the collection area out there at the end of Pine Street, does a great job. And the woman that they have running it is great, very nice
Good.
person.
Happy to hear that.
Yeah.
I'll be meeting with them Monday morning.
Well, they seem to do a good job.
That's good. I mean, we want to be pushing, that's another thing, is that's sort of partly of the meeting with them is, we want to be pushing composting.
Yeah.
Because that's gonna reduce our tonnage on the waste side, so. We got a lot of work to do there.
So to go back to, you were talking about how we're covering the additional cost. Could you just repeat the way you had a number of components that you were applying, and I've lost track of them.
So we had savings from a reduction in the two schools systems.
Yes.
And then we had like another $20,000 that we just hadn't appropriated yet.
Okay, so it's roughly 100.
So we're using that
Yeah.
to cover this additional expense. But then I'm also increasing the revenue side on the bags. So that contributes to it. And some of that savings then gets transferred to legal, our legal fee, our legal.
Legal is what I didn't remember.
So, just, raising the revenue on the bags, sorry, I missed that a moment ago. So does that mean increasing the bag prices?
Yes.
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 So I mean, it's kind of looking at the optics of that, we're raising the prices of the bags, and then a year from now, we're gonna say there's no more bags. But you get a benefit of having it on your, everybody pays for your trash removal, so.
Well, we're still gonna have bags, sounds like.
But
for
you
some
don't have to
people.
use
But for a smaller portion of the
You shouldn't have
population.
to you shouldn't have to spend as much on bags moving forward.
Right.
You just go to the transfer center station until you've used up all your bags you bought before you
Yeah.
Right.
switch.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the extra bags.
There you go, Gar.
For my stickers, yeah. Those
Stickers.
are old stickers.
Would you pick up mine on the way?
I'll pick yours up. Yep.
Okay, so the so now we had been looking at 520 for collection and now we're looking at 633. Just in case people didn't see that.
Yeah, I was afraid you'd point that out.
Mhm.
And the disposal went from 200 to 252. Is that, am I correct on that? Yeah. And then the, yeah.
I was hoping that with this budget, maybe I can combine the collection and disposal into one budget line in Article 4.
Sure.
I'm fine with that.
It's just trash.
Trash is trash.
Makes sense to take it.
That's fine. We see it all as one.
It's the net of the cost of, and the tipping fee, isn't that what? It's two separate lines that just basically,
Well, one goes to Wheelabrator.
right,
That's why it's separate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always has been.
Well, yeah, and,
Right, right.
and Black Earth.
and Black Earth,
Oh, yeah, and Blackburn.
it's fine. No. No big deal.
Yeah, at one point, we had an option of a contract with Black Earth that wasn't gonna charge us for collection.
Yeah,
They don't,
Just so you're aware of that. We had three options.
one of them was a 99-year lease, which gave us free collection.
Okay.
And the feeling at the time was to give a 99-year lease to somebody who might go out of business in the next 2 years. It was a bad idea. It's something that we could probably revisit with them, not right away, but when we are convinced that they are in fact a flourishing organization.
I think two other touch points on that, just briefly, are they're collecting materials from all sorts of communities. I see their trucks in Boston.
Mhm.
So monitoring how much of that is coming into Manchester to support their business is an important issue. And then I think the other one is that their proximity to Gravelly Pond is important.
Yeah.
So I think always keeping an eye on at least those two things, making sure they don't get out in front of us is important.
yeah.
And how are we
There's a
doing
contract.
that?
The contract has restrictions,
Well,
right?
that's part of what I wanna talk to them about is better data collection on how much tonnage they're collecting from Manchester. Obviously, they know how much tonnage they're processing at the plant, so. That's one of the elements I wanna talk to them about.
Right, so can I just add real quick?
Oh, yes, go ahead, Chuck.
It's still an active landfill, and so we have third-party landfill monitoring. So that goes to your other point, Maury, and we do have monitoring wells, around that. So that's all done separate of anything Black Earth is doing, that's not information we're trying to get from Black Earth, that's information that we're required to do on a semi-annual basis anyway.
And am I correct, Chuck, that the contract with Black Earth restricts how much they can bring in from other communities?
So there's definitely a tonnage, and that's part of the conversation that Tony and I will have them on Mondays for sure. But so there definitely is room for them to collect more Manchester tonnage locally.
Yeah.
If we could get more people to participate in the compost program,
Okay.
and then that will mean less comes from outside of town. But right now, we're at a 30 tons per week run rate through the facility. And, my estimate is we're somewhere between 5 and 10 tons per week that's coming from Manchester, probably closer to 5 than 10.
Okay.
So like you see, there's quite a bit of run room there.
Okay, good.
Chuck, does the DPW use compost from Black Earth? When you need to use compost? I mean.
Yeah, so Andrew's good about, if there's something that, we need, he's happy to help us with that or, make it available. There's actually still some up at School Street, which I will be using if it doesn't leave the School Street site.
Because our property is basically rocks. And so all of the dirt we have on our property where we live has come from Black Earth. I mean, it's their dirt. That's why anything grows there.
Yeah, we take a few scoops from here and there to, put it in different areas.
Great.
Okay. Any more questions on DPW sanitation budget?
No.
So do I have a motion to approve the DPW sanitation budget in the amount of $960,039?
So moved.
Second.
Andy moves, Gar seconds.
Yes.
John, yes.
Yes.
Andy, Gar,
Yes.
Yes.
Lori, Peter,
Yes.
Yes.
Sarah, yes, okay. Next year it will be $1 million,
Yeah, it will be.
maybe not.
Maybe less.
Okay. So now, you want us to revote the legal and other professional services, is that correct?
What page are we on for that?
21.
21.
So I think looking back, legal and other professional services tends to be one of those transfer items at the end of the year. I think we're usually in the $185,000 to $200,000 total expense range on an annual basis. And this was budgeted at 135 last year. So we had already requested to go up to 175. Now we're requesting to go up to 200.
And you dropped the consultants by 5.
Did we?
Earlier, yeah.
Yes, comparative, yes, yep. Hopefully it's a transfer item for the benefit and we're pulling money out of this account at the end of the year for other uses, but I think this is more of a right sizing issue.
Well, and unfortunately, it's better to have the legal up front than the mess in the rear end.
I move we approve the 270 for legal and other professional services.
Second.
John seconds. Vote, John,
Yes.
Indy,
Yes.
Gar,
Yes.
Maureen,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Sarah votes yes. What's happened to the insurance and other benefits?
Nothing.
So we already voted on that, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
I just
Yes.
included it because I knew we wanted to talk about the rate.
Okay. So we're good. School we have on the schedule for next week, and I hate to do that if we're saying we're gonna do that next week. People might care. So next week is the 12th. And we're gonna vote on the schools. Sounds like you gotta revote I don't know if we had voted for the vote deck, but that number changed. So we're gonna vote on the schools and warrant articles. We voted on all the health budgets, correct? And maybe I'll have pieces of FinCom booklet done.
We're gonna do OPEB?
We've done that.
Oh, we've done that, okay.
We did that last week,
Sorry, okay.
right? Yeah,
Yes, we did. Yeah, with the prior year bills.
right. Minutes. Did people have a chance to look at the 226 minutes?
I move that we adopt them, approve them.
Have a second?
Second.
Vote, John,
Abstain.
Andy,
Yes.
God,
Yes.
Maureen,
I'm gonna abstain because I wasn't here.
okay? Peter,
Yes.
Sarah votes yes. Anything else we need to discuss?
We have a draft warrant. Andrea and I are speaking with legal tomorrow,
Okay,
so hopefully tomorrow we can send something to the committee.
okay. It's a long warrant,
It is.
Wow.
but there's a lot of planning board items that we normally don't make a recommendation on. Did you have something, Ann, you're frowning?
I'm frowning because two of the articles are intended to raise business in town. It'd make it easier for businesses.
These are land use articles that
These
are.
are land use articles, changing the zoning regulations for the Harbor Edge District and the downtown, no, it's not, doesn't start with a D, I know, because we had too many Ds already.
So the question would be, Andrea, do we get any revenue from businesses? And if so, what types of businesses?
Well, it's
I
a,
can forecast that.
Like,
it's a single tax rate. I guess if it's prepared foods,
right,
you'll get local meals tax.
but I just want to have that list for next week when we go over the warrant, so that we can determine whether it's a de minimis financial impact or not.
I like that.
Nice job.
I like that a lot.
I believe one of the zoning
Town
things
center.
provides
center,
for
Town center,
small hotels or something like that.
inns.
Inns. Inns.
I,
Ye old inn?
traditionally, when
Old Water
we've
Inn.
talked about
For example.
planning articles.
Yeah.
We haven't done a financial analysis or a vote on what ifs.
Okay,
It's more on if there's a specific project, like the SLV, it was a specific project, so
Right.
calculations were done. But just because it allows for an inn,
well, no,
doesn't mean an inn would happen.
right, but if there were an inn,
Yeah.
there would be room tax.
Right,
So,
Don't-
and
don't
I'm
like-
not suggesting
Right.
we
yeah,
change our approach, but
Yeah.
I think there would be
so
a,
put that on the list.
Yeah, then it would preclude like residential tax. Like if you turn the Old Quarter Inn, for example, into a residence, and you get property tax versus, I mean, it's a complicated issue, super complicated issue,
Right.
you're just guessing about anyway.
Right,
Right? But sometimes we do venture out of our lane. So, like a year or so ago, there was a discussion about whether the town should maintain trees 11 feet back from
Oh,
the
yeah.
center line of the road to 17. And,
We
you
have
know, normally
concerns.
we're like, no, we don't care, but when DPW comes in and says, we got 2,900 trees we now have to have in our jurisdiction, that becomes a cost issue. So,
yeah.
I mean, I do think it's important to think about these
Right.
things
yes.
and how it tips.
Anything else? Any liaison updates?
Just what I mentioned before,
Okay.
facility plan.
With that, I take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
At 9:03 PM.
Very good.
I will.